In 2015, an anonymous source calling themselves John Doe reached out to a German newspaper, Süddeutsche Zeitung. They didn't just hand over a few documents. They unleashed a digital flood, 11.5 million confidential files, a staggering 2.6 terabytes of data, all from a single law firm in Panama, Mossack Fonseca. The German journalists, facing an impossible task, shared the files with the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists, or ICIJ, kicking off the largest cross-border journalism collaboration in history. What hundreds of reporters in 80 countries pieced together was a secret world hiding in plain sight. They found not a list of wanted criminals, but something far more powerful. A list of over 214,000 offshore entities engineered for one reason: to make the wealth of the world's most powerful people disappear. The client list read like a who's who of the global elite. 140 politicians, including a dozen world leaders, alongside billionaires and celebrities. This was the story of the secret list that pulled back the curtain on a shadow financial system and lit a fire that spread across the globe. To see more investigations like this, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell. You won't want to miss what's coming next. So what exactly did this secret list reveal? It exposed the inner workings of Mossack Fonseca, a major player in the world of offshore finance. The firm's specialty was creating what are known as shell companies. Think of it like a set of Russian nesting dolls. The outer doll is a valuable asset: a mansion, a super yacht, a billion-dollar stock portfolio. But instead of a person owning it, a company does. That company is then owned by another company, which is controlled by another entity. Each layer is registered in a different tax haven, like Panama or the British Virgin Islands, where financial secrecy isn't just a practice, it's a product. By the time you get to the core, the real owner is buried so deep under layers of corporate anonymity, they're practically invisible. That's the whole point of a shell company. It usually has no office, no employees, and no actual business. Its only purpose is to hold assets while hiding the identity of the person who really benefits, the beneficial owner. The Panama Papers were such a bombshell because they were the instruction manual. The 11.5 million leaked documents included everything: emails between the law firm and its ultra-rich clients, contracts for phony loans, scanned passports, and bank records showing how billions of dollars flowed, untaxed and unseen, through this maze. The leak didn't just show that wealth was being hidden, it showed, step by step, how it was done. The whistleblower, John Doe, later published a manifesto stating they saw firsthand how this system fuels global income inequality and lets the wealthy play by a different set of rules. Seeing what they called massive, pervasive corruption, they decided to act. The documents from Mossack Fonseca read like a playbook for financial secrecy, revealing a repeatable process for making fortunes vanish. First, a client would use an intermediary, a bank or an accountant, to make the request. The firm would then appoint nominee directors, who are essentially stand-ins paid to put their names on the company's official paperwork. This created the first critical layer of separation. In places like the British Virgin Islands, there was no public requirement to name the real owner, making them legally anonymous. Second, Mossack Fonseca could register a new shell company in a tax haven in a matter of hours. For a fee, the firm provided everything needed to create the appearance of legitimacy: a registered address and official-looking documents. Third, and this is the key, layering for confusion. One shell company was rarely enough. To truly secure a fortune, multiple shells were nested inside each other across different countries. For instance, a shell company in Panama might own a London apartment, but that Panamanian company would be owned by another shell in the British Virgin Islands, which in turn was managed by a trust in Switzerland. Money would move between them through fake loans or inflated invoices, creating a deliberately confusing paper trail that was nearly impossible for authorities to untangle. With the corporate structure built, an offshore bank would open an account in the shell company's name. This is where the money officially entered the shadow system. Leaked emails even showed Mossack Fonseca advisors counseling clients on how to structure transactions to avoid setting off red flags with global banking regulators. Finally, there was maintenance. The firm charged annual fees to maintain the illusion of a functioning company. If an owner ever came under investigation, the shell could be dissolved almost instantly, its records wiped clean, leaving investigators at a dead end. When the ICIJ and its partners published their findings in April 2016, the world erupted. It was a political earthquake, and the aftershocks hit the highest corridors of power. In Iceland, Prime Minister Sigmundur Davíð Gunnlaugsson was found to have secretly co-owned an offshore company holding millions in the country's failed banks. During a TV interview, as he stumbled over his denials, thousands of angry citizens gathered outside Parliament. Within 24 hours, he had resigned. In Pakistan, the family of Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif was linked to luxury London apartments owned through offshore companies. The revelation led to a Supreme Court investigation, his disqualification from office, and eventually a prison sentence for corruption. The list of high-profile names was staggering. Close associates of Russian President Vladimir Putin were tied to a network that had shuffled at least $2 billion through offshore accounts. In China, family members of top Communist Party officials were named, leading the government to immediately censor all coverage of the leak. Even soccer icon Lionel Messi was implicated and was later fined and given a suspended sentence in Spain for using shell companies to evade taxes. The consequences weren't just political. Investigations were launched in over 80 countries. By 2021, governments around the world had publicly reported recovering more than $1.36 billion in back taxes and penalties. Even the firm at the center of it all, Mossack Fonseca, couldn't survive the fallout. Its founders, Jürgen Mossack and Ramon Fonseca, were arrested. The firm, once a giant of the offshore world, was forced to shut down for good in 2018, its reputation destroyed. But the story doesn't end there. In a stunning turn of events in June 2024, a Panamanian court acquitted all 28 defendants in the Panama Papers trial, including founder Jürgen Mossack. Co-founder Ramon Fonseca had passed away just before the verdict. The judge ruled that the evidence, the very files that had toppled governments, was inadmissible. This verdict is a stark reminder that exposing the truth is one thing, but achieving justice is something else entirely. While many activities in the papers were technically legal, they exposed a deep ethical rot in a system designed for the powerful. The acquittal shows just how incredibly difficult it is to prosecute these complex financial crimes. What's more, Mossack Fonseca was just one of many firms. Experts believe it represented only a fraction of an entire offshore industry that is still running. Yet, the impact of the Panama Papers can't be erased by a single court ruling. It offered an unprecedented glimpse into a world that was never meant to be seen, empowering citizens and triggering global reforms. It stands as a testament to the power of whistleblowers and investigative journalism to hold power to account. The firestorm that started with a single anonymous message hasn't gone out. It's still burning. What do you think is the biggest lesson from the Panama Papers scandal? Let us know in the comments below. And if you haven't already, subscribe for more deep dives into the stories that shape our world.